This is the second video for rock, paper, scissors. In the previous video, we set up our screen and our sprites and started to program with the resets and then bringing in our keystrokes and then our variables that we set up. So if we stick with J, what we're going to do is we're going to set our player1 variable to rock. So again, when we hit that J button, we're setting it to rock. We're just going to duplicate this and duplicate this. We'll get rid of that rock there. And obviously the second one would be paper. And then the last one would be scissors. Now, what do we want to do? We want to switch our costumes. We want to visually display that. So we have rock, paper, and scissors. So if we take a look at our program now, that player one, based on the key being pressed, changes its costume. Now, most of the computing isn't going to be here. What we need to do is we need to broadcast this now. So we're going to come to broadcast a message. And the message that we're going to broadcast in this one is, we'll call it show pick. So we want to show the pick that we're having. So we're going to broadcast it in each of these. So what'll happen is when we go over to the computer screen, we'll program the computer to receive that command. So we're going to jump over to our computer, and what do we want to have happen? Well, again, we're going to start off with that when the green flag is clicked, we want to reset. So we're going to switch our costume to the laptop because we could have been on rock, paper, or scissors. Just like the previous one is when we receive that command of the reset, we want to also make our laptop to reset. So what eventually we're doing is we want everything to come back to this original screen. Now, in the previous screen, we set up this show, the pick that we have. So when we receive that, what do we want to have happen? Well, we want our computer to choose a number. So we're going to set our computer variable to a random number from 0 to 2. It could also be 1 to 3. It really doesn't matter as long as you have one for rock, paper, and scissors. And what this comes down to now is some if-else statements. So I'm going to grab my if-else statement, and I'm going to say, what happens if the computer chooses the rock, we'll say. So we're going to come here, we're going to drag in, what happens if our computer chooses our rock? Now, before I do that, I know I'm going to need this for my other variables, so I'm just going to duplicate it really quick. I'm going to bring that. Well, obviously, I want to switch my costume to the rock. What happens if the computer, again, chooses, and I'm going to grab another if-else statement. If the computer doesn't choose the rock, what happens if the computer chooses the paper command? Obviously, I want to choose paper. I want to view paper, I mean. So I'm going to change that to paper. Now, if it doesn't choose either of those, obviously I don't need a conditional on that. I can just say if it doesn't choose one of those, I'm going to be scissors. Now, we have to set up a scenario to say, hey, who won? So this will determine what shows here. Now we have to set up a scenario for who won, and that'll be the next portion of our programming.